All right, so I didn't think I was going to have another automotive video to do because of, well, I mean, I just didn't think I was going to have one for a long time, like maybe another year, but I did. So this stuck wheel problem, you'll hear a lot of stupid shit about how to take these things off. Like, for example, you have, like, you know, just kicking it with your foot and stuff. A lot of foots can't take these tires off for one reason or another. Then you have, like, the really, really stupid method of lowering the car, like having a single lug nut on one of these, what are they called? On one of these knuckle thread thingies, where the lug nuts twist onto, and then, like, you lower the car on there, and then it breaks the wheel off because, you know, of that rust layer and stuff goes on there. Now that with that explanation, yes, the rust layer is there, but the problem with that is that you go from a very a more simplistic, less sensitive application to a very, very sensitive application very easily, because you have to very carefully watch that car go down, and then it's just, you know, like, you're basically just letting that 1,000 pounds or so on that area of the car go buck wild on that wheel, and that runs a big risk. I heavily do not recommend that. That could potentially be very stupid. But what beat out all of those, and I know that from trial and error, is something like this. Here I've got a 4-pound mallet and stuff, steel head. This is not a dead blow, so it's going to have some bounce, know that. And I think, you know, 4 pounds should be pretty good. I got a really good deal on 4 pounds. It was just a few dollars. It was on sale somewhere. Yeah, you want to strike it on the tire over here, create some vibrations to break up that rust and stuff. Because depending on the power of the vibrations, it's going to loosen a certain amount of thing that has, like, a, I guess, like a minimum required force to move, like a minimum moment of force, or minimum initial moment of force. So yeah, so there's that. And yeah, so out of all the methods I tried, and I tried really kicking the hell out of this thing. I mean, I used to leg press, like, what, 800, 900, 1,100 pounds and stuff. No, I wasn't on PEDs or anything. I just trained a lot and ate really good. Well, no, I just ate, well, I ate a lot. I didn't really, I didn't eat really good, just a lot. And we'll talk a little bit about that too, because I've read plenty and I know plenty from experience. I can help a lot of people there. So yeah, and, you know, this video kind of touches on physical safety too. And yes, I will be doing lessons on physical safety as well. I've seen some things in my day, so it would be good for me to pass on that knowledge. And yes, so yeah, you want to get, like, with the wheel on, of course, you want to get on the inside of the tire and stuff, you know, where the lug nuts are pointing away from where you're striking, and you want to strike about here and stuff. You could strike here too. It's not going to hurt the tire. If anything, actually over here is a little bit stronger, and so tire walls tend to be substantially weaker than the tread area, generally speaking. These are Doral SDLs, so, you know, yeah. Oh, yeah, you don't want to knock the rim and stuff, because bent rims, yeah, that's going to create some problems. Bent rims could even kick up your car and create a car accident and stuff. You know, maybe you're thinking about something that takes you by surprise, and now you go from, like, a very simple, rough application, or an application that has some play and tolerance to it, to a very sensitive application very quickly, like what I was talking about with the tire. So there's that. I believe I said everything that's valuable here. Let's sum this up. Using a mallet beats everything else. But that tire might fly off, so you want to keep off a lug nut and just not hit it so hard that you might actually damage the threads and stuff, because rethreading is going to be time consuming, potentially. You don't want to do that. So you want to, as you do, inspect, and inspect as you do. There you go. I believe I said enough valuable things to be said, and I can end the video here. Thank you. I forgot this detail. When you're getting your wheel back on, you want to use anti-seize. Here I have a generous amount of anti-seize. That's because I had a pretty funky specific problem where the rust kept gluing the tire back on. I'm over here inspecting my brakes and stuff, just keeping track of them. Yeah, anti-seize can have some very, very toxic chemicals. You don't want this on your skin. You don't want to breathe in the smell or the fumes and stuff, because it does aerosolize in the air a little bit. Here I have the Permatex variant and stuff. This could get on everything. So yeah, know that. And make sure it's specifically anti-seize. You don't want to misappropriate resources and stuff and then find out you're short on something else because you put it in the wrong area. As you can see, I don't have it here in the threads and stuff. As far as threads, I mean, they have like Loctite and lock nut type stuff you could use. Though I can't imagine why somebody would do that if it's not for a racing application. Because I understand racing applications get very, very sensitive when it comes to dealing with vibrations and safety and wear and tear in the car. Maybe even some heavy duty working applications too. The forces in general are similar there, but they have different properties, which have different acoustics to them. And I will be teaching acoustics as well. No, not acoustic music, but yeah. So yeah, you want to paint on this anti-seize when you put this tire back on. And I babbled and blathered so much, so I'm going to cut it short here. Thank you. So here we have another cut because there's some things I left out. This is safety related, so please do take note of this. Double check the required foot-pounds or equivalent metric force for tightening down these lug nuts on your car for the make, model, and year. Most safely, you can search by the trimming too. Now there's a caveat. If your threads are damaged or there's some other condition affecting the metal, such as insufficient quality, and this channel will talk about steel grading and stuff like that. Yeah, if it's at the correct foot poundage and the threads are good, and the lug nuts good, all related is good, then it will be snug and biting down the tire really well. So, and of course, make sure the wheel is straight and stuff when it goes on there. Not every car is built like a VAZ Coupe or a Marauder or a military mil-spec Humvee and stuff where they can take abuse and stuff like that. You got to respect the class and level of quality of your car is, regardless of how much you love it or hate it. You'll have to disseminate the difference between how you feel and what you're thinking and what you're believing and the facts. So how do I anything else I'm missing? Nothing I can think of really. This video has gone on quite long enough to just talk about taking off a broken wheel or tire. But yes, I tell you this information because it relates to your physical safety. Again, I will be talking about physical safety. Some things popped into my head when I was lifting this tire onto these threaded stud thingies here. So yeah, goodbye. Now, I'm at the point of putting my impact driver to these lug nuts and stuff, which what you absolutely don't want to do is have it so the internal hammer inside the impact driver is slamming. And what I mean is there's a metal disc in there that has cutaways in it, and if it reaches its maximum capacity to turn something, those metal cutaways will slam into other components in the impact driver. This does not immediately damage or cause issues, but it does put mileage and wear and tear and stuff. So if you have an older impact driver, you could find that you just broke your impact driver doing that. So instead, use and they actually sell these for they can sell these for a really good price. You should get a digital torque wrench. They're very exact and precise, and then you put the impact driver to bring the lug nut down low enough to where it's not overly snug for the specification for the car, and then you take your digital torque wrench, and then you get it down to the right spec. You'll probably, depending on how strong you are or whatever factors, you will probably want something more like a breaker bar. breaker bars are a good catch-all and stuff, but if you're really very strong, then it's not necessary. I know some impact guns have automatic detection where it can torque down the lug nut to the correct PSI based on the setting, but that might not be necessarily what you have available, which can make things time consuming. So there's that too. Now, as to the impact driver and the hammers and the internal hammer and the slamming, well, what does that sound like? It sounds pretty similar to, before I actually show it to you, because I really don't want to put mileage in my impact driver. It's very similar to how other impact drivers and drills sound. Some drills are more delicate than others. From my research, I think the DeWalt ones have some internal defects, but I'm not too sure about that. You know, DeWalt has a lot of different components and generations, so I just don't want to make presumptions there. But yeah, so this is what it sounds like when the hammer's slamming. It makes that noise right there. The lug nut doesn't really turn. Yeah, that rapid slamming, clicking noise, it's no good. You don't want that. Yeah, I'll have to use my breaker bar because this thing does not give me the nanometers, foot-pounds, whatever you want to call it, to measure the force to snug these things down properly. So, yeah. Anything else I'm missing? Because I know I'm making a ton of cuts and additions because I'm missing things. Yeah, I'm just going to say with this tutorial, your mileage may vary and stuff. I tried to cover a lot of things. I don't have a ton of time to cover it. So, yeah, just you want to mull over the safety details. Think twice, 20 times before you do things to avoid any issues, damaging anything or causing injury to yourself or a loved one or coworker or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Goodbye.